Today's video, we're going to talk about why you don't want to use Advantage Plus audiences on your Facebook campaigns that you're running if you haven't already done this about to describe on this video here. Okay, and this thing is primarily predicated on having history as an advertiser on Facebook and not just walking up trying to expect Facebook to find your customer automatically with no work, no effort in putting in to get customers elsewhere in your business. Now, you may also just have customers that you're getting from other things that you're doing, Google ads, maybe you get referrals, doesn't matter. That also can get Advantage Plus audiences to work, but with no data by itself, you're not going to get Advantage Plus audiences to work better than setting up targeted audiences through your Facebook campaign specifically, or specific demos or open targeting, as some people call this. So I'm going to go into how to actually get the value out of Advantage Plus audiences if you are going to use it, and when and how much this can actually generate for you at the end of the day. Before I get into the content though, if you do not know who I am Corey Ziman, owner of Guaranteed PPC, an online advertising agency that specializes in guaranteeing results for their clients. That is, we do not charge our clients management fees until we can get them a certain minimum lift in the profitability, basically in excess of the management fees that we charge. We are the only agency out there who does any similar contingency guarantee, which will tell you something about the quality of the information that I'm sharing with you on today's video. So with that said, getting into the content as promised. You can run either broad campaigns on Facebook ads via general demographics like, female, male 18 to 65, to just target everybody and hope your offer catches the eye of the people that you want to catch it, and you end up making sales in the process. Or you could use Advantage Plus audiences to try to target everybody in the hopes to try to do the same thing, if you will. Facebook by default had really good audiences that you could pick from. People that, let's say, had 3 credit cards with at least a $50,000 limit when you're trying to market a credit card. This was before the 2019 kind of privacy debacle. Then they pulled back all those audiences that they got from third-party data sources that they paired with their own Facebook data to give you the power to hyper-target people on Facebook. Nowadays, because the targeting options are limited, new advertisers, small businesses, they kind of have to target broadly and have a good ad with a good hook on it and just hope the right person sees it and responds as a result. Such as, if you have credit, you have at least 3 credit cards. This is the best 4th credit card. And then versus trying to target the person that already has the 3 credit cards and just say, this is the best credit card, so to say. That said, by the way, you can use LiveRamp and get all these audiences back in your Facebook account. The problem with it is you need a 10 grand a month spend minimum to basically make it work, be able to use the platform. So for small advertisers, it doesn't work. So for small advertisers with small companies, you're stuck with having to go the broad approach. The question is, which broad approach is going to work best for you? Well, of these two, using open demos or Advantage Plus audiences to target the general public, to find your customers, as to for you, what gets the most results will depend on the data you already have that Facebook can specifically access, because Advantage Plus audiences are really just Facebook using its own machine learning systems to try to find you customers. It'll look at the customers you have already itself or traffic on your website, if that's all it has, to identify ultimately, because Facebook has lots and lots of data points on all their users, like thousands. And they'll look at all the people who come to your site and the traits that make those people unique compared to the general user on Facebook, make those conclusions, and then have your ad show for people that are like the people who've been on your website, sort of. And that's generally what it's supposed to do. Or if you've got conversion data, it'll look at the conversion data. But the thing with machine learning and machine learning algorithms is they don't work that well with small pools of data. You need a certain minimum amount of data for the algorithms to make smart decisions, at least smarter than you're going to make on your own using your noggin and trying to figure out how to more accurately target your ads just with basic logic. Because machine learning doesn't have any logic per se. All it has is it follows trends. Unless you give it a ton of data, which makes the trends undeniable, it's not going to get that great of results ultimately. Which, still kind of questioning on this, by the way. The easiest way to figure this out is just to reach out to me at my agency and I can tell you which way to go with this. I've talked about in other videos how 80% of your results on Facebook still is understanding what your audience wants to hear and coming out with a good offer. The targeting is really like 20% of it nowadays. So a lot of people don't understand how to put these offers together. I've done it for hundreds of companies now over the last decade. Reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com if you would like somebody to put you a campaign together and not only just figure out the right starting targeting for you, but the right offer that really makes Facebook ads work. And we could guarantee your results along with it. If you have something we can actually guarantee, reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com if you're interested in that. We also sell ad templates. If we've already worked in your niche market before, we could sell you the winning ad templates that work for your market, including landing pages, all of it that work for your market, not only on Facebook, but Google or wherever else we ran ads for a product or service like yours out there in the market in a different city, country, or territory. So with that said, though, moving forward on the topic at hand, now the formula for success with Advantage Plus audiences is going to be like this. So typically want to do is not run Advantage Plus audiences at first. You're going to run what they call normal open targeting, where you're going to target certain demographics of people, or you're going to then run Google campaigns first, which allow you to hyper target still, build up your momentum there, hit a plateau, then come back to Facebook, then do your Advantage Plus audiences, because that'll give the Facebook algorithm a lot more data to look at to make use of the Advantage Plus audience system, or audience itself, if you want to call it that. When you run demographic targeting, though, on your Facebook, just to let you know, the main ones that you're going to look at is, of course, male, female, age, and then income. So many campaigns nowadays, if you're targeting at least Americans, are predicated on you targeting people that actually have money to spend. There is no middle class in America anymore. Don't even argue with me on this. I've run so many campaigns, I know. For the most part, marketing to people that are not in the top 20% of income demographic or for anything that you're selling for more than like several $100s, it's hard to do. Or something that's like a luxury item where you just really don't need it. It's so hard to do. It's like impossible. So you will typically, and then, figure out, is it mainly females buying? Because females usually have a greater percentage of the spending in a lot of categories. You could do female, you realize it's mainly middle-aged, female middle-aged, top 20%. And you're going to end up now at least narrowing it down to the 5% of the people you can market to on Facebook that are the most profitable right away and be way out ahead. And so I would at least go that way with it. I wouldn't go totally broad marketing into everybody unless you really think what you do can be bought by everybody and would be bought by everybody, if you will. Beyond that, though, my typical approach is to run Google ads first, because search ads will typically always work 95+% of the time and be profitable, because we could target people who already want our product or service, right? Then we can also run demand gen campaigns, YouTube campaigns, which we can then go further than search campaigns. And those are more profitable than Facebook because you can hyper target individual audiences. So if you want to target somebody who just is looking to buy Christmas gifts right now, you could target them with a product that's mainly sold at Christmas time to people that want to give a gift. You can do that. Versus on Facebook, you can't do that, if you will, or at least not nearly as targeted. And then we'll max that out. And then by the time we've maxed that out, when we run our Facebook ad eventually, we spool up the Advantage Plus audiences then right away, and it'll work fairly well. Now, if you want to know kind of like the triggering point where Advantage Plus audiences are specifically going to work, here's about what I would tell you here. Once you get about 1,000 visits a day to your website, where you're profitable, you've scaled up your Google, YouTube, or other traffic source to your site to where you're getting 1,000 visits a day already, that's the time when you could do Advantage Plus audiences and probably end up doing pretty well with it. Specifically, if that's you got to 1,000 visits a day, metapixel to your website, and you add your conversion tracking, and then you wait about 90 days to let the conversion pixel rack up a bunch of conversion data of its own. Then you turn on your Facebook ads campaign at that time with the Advantage Plus audiences, and it should typically do real well at that particular point in time. So, and certainly better than open demos, if you will, because you're going to be taking advantage of the power of Facebook's machine learning algorithms to find you your customers that you want, if you will. And given that there's not that many targeting options on Facebook to begin with. So the machine learning give you more precise targeting with the Advantage Plus audience targeting than you could with the open demos by itself. Make sense? So, it's kind of like different where as like advertising on YouTube, we'll market to people who have recently been to our competitor's website because we can. And that's better than letting Google's AI take over. On Facebook, it's the opposite. The targeting's not that great, so you let the AI take over because there's no better alternative, if you will, most of the time. I would also tell you about Advantage Plus audiences. It obviously does better when what you sell can be bought by at least 1% of the population. If you're selling, let's just give you a random example that I've worked with in the past. Solar install equipment. So like somebody who installs solar equipment that needs to install the solar panels and they need special tools and equipment to do so. There's only like 1,000 or so installers. And if you're going to, try to market on Facebook, it's like you're basically putting a drop of water into an ocean, marketing to everybody to find that 1,000 people, so to say. So even though you're using Advantage Plus audiences, if you will, and you've got the 1,000 visits to your site coming in already, somehow, even though that wouldn't be necessarily possible that easily, unless you really had like a monster email marketing campaign going on or something crazy, it just basically wouldn't work that well. Generally speaking though, the 1,000 visitor rule kind of basically is the only rule you need to go by, because if you are able to generate that much demand and that much interest to your website about your product or service and your niche, it's a big enough niche to go on Facebook with the Advantage Plus audiences algorithm and still do well, if you will. Or another way to put it is, the more mass market your product or services, the more the Advantage Plus audiences are going to do, the better it's going to work for you. The more niche it is, the less it will work. But you're never going to get to the 1,000 visit threshold to even be able to market on Facebook at all unless it's semi-mass market stuff anyway, if you will. Hopefully that makes sense. There's a lot of other tips and tricks that I could tell you about Facebook ads, certainly, in order to make money with it. You should subscribe to this channel if you're serious about making money with Facebook ads, because I give you all the working knowledge from somebody who runs dozens of these campaigns at any given time and have been running them over a decade legitimately, and not just talking about it, but, I run an agency here, and at the agency, I'm the key strategist. That's all I do is just strategize on ad accounts all day. What I find works, I share on this channel. So, which is unique because most channels, people are talking about ads, but they don't really run them, or they run an agency, they don't get their hands dirty. They don't really know what's going on. So if you want to learn from somebody actually doing it, subscribe to this channel. And if you're serious about making money, you would. Furthermore, you should check out my blog on my site at guaranteeppc.com/blog. On my blog, I've got the actual strategies we're using to guarantee results for clients as well. If you want to see what those are, you can check them out there. I've got all the strategies laid out with screenshots, the step-by-steps, everything you would need to use them. So if you like the channel, you should check that blog out as well. You'll like it as much or even more. If you have any questions about anything I covered here about Advantage Plus, let me know in the comment section. You can actually ask me any other marketing or ad-related question you'd like. I'm more than happy to give back and say, hey, here's what I think about this particular topic, just as a thank you for helping the channel grow and watching and commenting in the first place. For that matter, most of what you would need to know about Advantage Plus audiences. There's some other stuff I could talk about, but it gets into fringe, use cases and so on and so forth that I'm not going to necessarily do. That's what the comment section is for. You can ask me specific questions. For the most part, though, I'm using Advantage Plus audiences every time over open targeting itself. Once I've got to a certain point of growth in my business for Google's system to look at the data, if you will. Even if I need to target people in the top 20% of income demographic, Facebook system's going to figure that out on their own if they have enough data to look at it, if you will. Now, sometimes Facebook will get off into the weeds with that Advantage Plus targeting, and it'll drop your CPA or raise your ROAS for a period, decrease your ROAS for a period of time as it finds some customers and then makes a wrong decision and so on and so forth. But the results with Advantage Plus will keep getting more and more stable as you go. And a smaller percentage of your ad budget is going to be in test mode for them. Whereas at the beginning, it's going to be more volatile, but it's going to be less volatile the more traffic your site already has coming to it when you start. Okay? For that matter, if you also need some coaching or consulting, I also do this to channel watchers here for about a few months now. If you need somebody to tell you where you're stuck, why you can't get your campaigns to work, why your ads just won't work in general, not only just on Facebook or on other platforms, let me know. Reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com. I can do a 30-minute coaching session with you, find out where you're stuck, let you know, not only just looking at your ads, but your sales process, your website, all of it to figure out where the true bottleneck is, because I do this with my clients all the time and tell you how to get unstuck. But with that said, I'm going to wrap it up with that. Thank you very much for watching as usual. I'll see you on the next one.
Remember when I said Facebook ads was important during this video? Well, this video here tells you how to do it.